Hello everybody, this is Tek, and today I am back with another commentary on All the Ones. This time we're doing episode 2. So I know it's been a while. I do plan on covering the entire series, but there may be some time in between each episode. So today we'll be doing episode 2. This one was originally released in February 14th of 2013. And I later re-uploaded a re-edited version on 2017. I don't know which exact date. So yeah, let's get started. So the episode title, Call of Kitty, is obviously based on Call of Duty. Not that I ever played the game, but yeah, I wanted to have fun titles, I guess. So here we have Lynn, and as you can see, her design has changed. As I pointed out in episode 1, that's because in episode 1 she's a puppy, and I wanted to give her a wolf puppy coat and blue eyes, as real wolf pups have. And then over here in episode 2, she is like an early teenager. I'd say she's about 12 years old in human years over here. And she also has a color, which is never explained in the series, but I will explain it a little bit later. Down the line how she got it. But if you read the short stories, you will know.
En die mighty empress near and knowing pride.
Okay, so this shot you just saw. I can see if I can rewind it a little bit.
En die mighty empress near and knowing pride.
This shot, as you can see, it's very blurry and there's some green screen errors, a little bit of artifacts and stuff. That's because this shot was animated in a different program. 90% of all ones was animated in MS Paint, just MS Paint, and then the animation itself was done in Windows Movie Maker and Pinnacle. But for this shot, I chose to test out a different program. It was called Pencil 2D Animation, and I'm not sure if it still exists nowadays. But back then, it was used by some YouTube animators. But I never could quite figure out how to properly like animate it, and especially coloring. I don't know. I just never could get the coloring to work right, which is why there's some coloring artifacts. So basically what I would end up doing for all of the shots I finished in pencil, there's a few more shots later down the line, I would first animate those shots in pencil, because the one thing pencil had that MS Paint did not was an onion skin, and it's kind of vital for animating that you have an onion skin. So usually I'd do the sketching and the line art of these shots in the pencil program, and then I would basically screenshot all of these frames, because I also couldn't figure out how to export the frames. And then all of these frames I would put into MS Paint, and there I would color them. So if the coloring seems off in these pencil shots, it's because yeah, they were basically like drawn in one program, screenshotted, and then colored in another program. It's very like a long way to do it, but back then I didn't really know what I was doing.
Lynn, what are you doing?
I am hunting?
How many times have I told you they're not ready to hunt yet?
I'm sorry, Dad. I was just trying to...
I have nothing.
Okay, so here we have Lin and One Eye having their little arguments. As you can see, One Eye's grown older. He's paler than he was in the last episode. He has more ear notches, which is also explained in one of the short stories. So yeah, he looks a little bit different, but this is his main design, so yeah.
Do with what you were trying to do. Just stop.
And if you look over here, you can see that he actually has a missing tooth, which doesn't really show when he's talking, but when he grits his teeth like this or he growls, you can see that he has a little missing premolar on the side of his mouth. So that's a tiny detail.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Dad.
It is okay then.
So, what are we going to do now? I'm already awake yet.
I am going out hunting. You are staying in the den.
So here I colored the color the wrong color. I just noticed. Whoops.
Come on.
Shut. You stay, I hunt. Get it?
And over here in the shot, I forgot a color at all. So sometimes it's colored the wrong color, but over here I just forgot it. Yeah, whoops. And as you can see, Daniel, I'm going to start calling him Daniel from now on because I don't like the name One Eye anymore. It's kind of ableist. I know it works in the context of the series, but I don't know. I just don't like it that much anymore. So if I call him Daniel, I mean One Eye. I may slip up, but I'll try not to. So as you can see, Daniel over here has like an extra tooth on this side. He actually has had it for most of his life, but due to circumstances, it got kind of like poked out of his mouth. Starting again in one of the short stories. That's the same sort of story of how he got his ear notches and how Lynn lost her eye.
But I...
You stay here. Capiche?
Capiche.
Okay, so this shot, I colored, this one I drew actually traditionally. Most of the other ones was just drawn digitally. I didn't do 90% of it is just drawn digitally and I had no traditional art at all. But this shot I actually drew traditionally at first and then I traced over it and I, like with Chainsaw in the last episode, and then I colored it in MS Paint. And I don't know why he has a brook in the background because that's the wrong background. He's supposed to be in a forest, but oh well. So yeah, this shot was actually drawn digitally at first. So for that shot of Lynn smiling, originally in the original edit of All at Once, they had like small, like squeaky toy sounds each time they smiled, which was a reference to My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, where that was just kind of like a running joke, and I was a big brony at the time. Then for this shot, you see Lynn's Dark Guardian shadow. So yeah, which will come back later, but it's never actually explained within the series what the Dark Guardians are, but you can see that it lives in her shadow, alright? Okay, so here we have a very bored Lynn. And then the next shot, this shot over here, it's also very messy looking. This is because it was drawn and colored. I believe this is the only shot I drew and colored, both in pencil. And it's a huge mess. It's also only a few frames long. Simply because I just figured out that coloring in pencil wasn't working for me, so I instead decided to color everything in MS Paint from then on by screenshotting it. And there's some color cut-off area here. Whoops.
I'm sorry, I was chasing a bird.
Then over here we have Abby. Abby was a character, or is a character from one of my internet friends back then. A lot of All at Once characters actually were belong to internet friends or internet mutuals of mine, and some were also just commissioned or donated to be in the series. And Abby was one of the characters of one of my closest internet friends back then, so that's why she's in the series. And yeah, I still like her design, but she was very tough to animate because she's a tortoiseshell cat. She has a lot of markings. So I love her design, but she was definitely one of the tougher characters to animate, especially after her character design changes. Like I believe in episode 3 or 4, her design changes slightly, and she has even more markings. So she was a bit tough to animate.
You smell funny. What are you? I'm a wolf. Oh, yeah. I see. You don't look as monstrous as my mother told me, but whatever. I'm a cat.
A cat? Whoa, you don't look as, I don't know.
What did you expect a cat to look like?
Well, my dad told me.
This shot, Lynn is blushing, but she's supposed to be ashamed that she doesn't know what a cat looks like. Some people have interpreted this as Lynn crushing on Abby. That's not the intention. They are just very close friends, especially not at this point in the story. But yeah, she's supposed to be blushing because she's ashamed that she doesn't know anything about the outside world, which is kind of like a big point of this episode. That's why she's going out with Abby and stuff. So this isn't like a romantic blush. People blush for other reasons than being romantic, you know. They can also just be ashamed of stuff. Not that I'm like... Normally I'd be okay with shipping characters, but since these characters, Lynn and Abby, were both characters of me and my friend back then, it's a little bit weird to start shipping them. since they're characters of like different people, and especially since I don't have contact with the internet friend anymore, it'd just be kind of like, I don't know, weird to ship these characters together. So yeah, not a romantic blush. Normally I'm very okay with people shipping my characters within reasonable boundaries, but I'd rather people don't ship Lynn and Abby for that reason.
You were just as big as two dead rats and look like squirrels.
Squirrels? Even I'm not as stupid as those silly squirrels.
You're not that bad. You're funny. What's your name?
Name's Abby. They also call me Abra or Abs very often.
I'm Lynn.
So, being a wolf, have you ever tasted deer?
So yeah, that line of Abby was like a very different microphone quality, because I believe the voice actress forgot to record one of the lines and then later re-recorded it with a different microphone. So that's why. And yeah, here we have Lynn. As you can see, her ear notches, both Lynn's and Daniel's, are very inconsistent in this episode, and I believe also episode 3. But they would then later kind of become more consistent. But yeah, the ear notches don't make a lot of sense. Something else you can see about Lynn, I kind of wanted her to look a little bit like Daniel, because she lived with him for a year. So she has a small beard, which is like, I don't know, aspect of a character I always really liked. And she has a kind of fake scruffy eyebrow. Most of the other ones characters either don't have eyebrows or they have very thin ones. But yeah, Lynn always had like a big scruffy eyebrow. That's kind of how she's always looked. And obviously on the right side, she doesn't have any due to the scarring she received.
Deer?
Yeah, I always wanted to eat one, but yeah, a cat can't hunt a deer. Same counts for one wolf, but I don't know. You told me that you have something you call a dad.
Oh yeah, one eye's great, but I actually never ate deer. I can get you one, sorry.
Why not?
Well, one eye is a bit aging. He actually never allows me to go out of the den.
Never? But you're at least 1 year old right now.
I don't really know what the other forest looks like.
Why don't you come with me?
Huh?
Well, long story, but I don't live with humans like regular house cats. I live in the wild, as a wild kitty. I know the entire mountain. Why don't you come with me and explore it?
Me? Exploring? You mean like out of the den?
Duh. How do you want to explore if you stay in the den?
I don't know. They told me to stay here.
Come on. We'll be back before he's even caught, whatever he's hunting on.
Well, okay then.
So here we have the Daniel hunting scene, and again his ear notches are very inconsistent. So yeah, except the ear tip that's missing, that was always there, at least from episode 1. But the other ear notches, like Lynn's, are always like a mess in the early episodes. Again, you can see that he has no toes on the left front paw. That's a detail a lot of people miss, apparently. But yeah, it's just he was born with, except for the Dukla, he has no toes on that front paw. Here's a rabbit, and I kind of had a running gag back then, that all of the rabbits in a certain area of the forest, I wanted to have like a brown ear and green eyes, which is why the rabbit from episode 1 also has that. I don't remember exactly where I was going with that, but I just remember that I wanted most rabbits to look like that, that I designed for the series at least. At least back then. I think I later ditched that stuff. Again, you can see his missing tooth. It's very obvious in the shot. This shot was again done in pencil. You can tell because the line art is very different, and there's some like slight issues with the green screening. Like it kind of cuts off the boundaries a little bit. So yeah, that's why that looks like that. And here's a random bird. I actually really hate this bird nowadays because nowadays I really wish I had used more like native Austrian fauna in Alliance, since it takes place in Austria. But this bird is just a random bluebird. It's not based on any real bird species. And in hindsight, I really wish I had like based it on like any type of bird that really lives in Austria. Because yeah, there's very little of like native wildlife, native Austrian wildlife in this series, sadly. This is the first walk cycle I ever animated, so yeah, it looks like garbage, but for a very first try, I guess it isn't too bad. Supposed to like kind of have his realization like, oh dear, what have I done? He's really beating himself up over that. But yeah, if you think this is setting up for a redemption, I mean, that's kind of what I was going for, but I really messed it up. So when I never becomes a great guy, even by the end of the series, he's Daniel. Sorry, I keep slipping up. But yeah, he's Daniel. He's not a good guy. So yeah.
Seriously? No one ever stopped hunting me, so why do you?
So this I also hate. I hate that I have to pay animal stock because that just kind of it's like a whole like cannibalization aspect to the series. Like they're eating other sentient creatures. It's a little bit messed up. And I think this is also like the only time this happens across both series, both Alone Ones and Renegades, that are prey animal talks. So I guess I could just kind of retconned rabbits into being unable to talk. Later down the line. And this rabbit is also voiced by me. I also voice Lynn in this series, and I voice this rabbit. This rabbit's name was actually Thunder. I don't know why I named the prey animals, but yeah, this rabbit was called Thunder. I do remember that.
What are you for kind of wolf? Wait, are we going out of the forest?
Sure, I'll take you to the best place to watch the mountain, believe me.
No, one would never be so stupid to leave Tannenwald.
So yeah, the forest they live in is called Tannenwald, and I believe that's German for like pine forest or something like that, or spruce forest, basically something like that. And episode 1 takes place in another place called Fichtenwald, which is another tree type in German. So yeah, they have German names, which makes sense since the series takes place in Austria, but it doesn't make sense that they would know the names, the German names of the forests, because they're animals and obviously they don't speak German, or Austrian. I don't know why they know the names. I probably retcon that later.
Why should I?
Come on, it'll be fun.
But there's no place to hide over here in the meadows.
Well, there are plenty of rocks out there and cows, so it won't be too hard if we hurry.
So here we have the shot of Lynn with the cow. This is a real thing in Austria. I don't know if you've ever been there, but in the Alps in Europe in general, they will in summer have just cows roaming, like not completely freely, but they are pretty much free roaming on the meadows on the mountains to keep like the grass short. And then in winter, people ski on those slopes. And yeah, that's a real thing that happens. This cow is also based on a real cow breed. It's called the Brown Swiss, which is a Switzerland breed from cow. But yeah, this takes place in Austria. But this breed of cow you'll very often find in the Alps. And they also wear those bells around their neck. That's so people can hear where they are. And the shot is also a Call of the Wild reference because Call of the Wild was like the main inspiration behind Alone Ones. So I wanted to have a few small nods here and there. Some are more obvious than others. But yeah, this is based on like the real cows in Austria that roam there, and obviously this is based on Call of the Wild. You can kind of see the parallel with Lynn kind of looking like a lorry, and then brown cow, which could be referencing Millie.
So this thing is a cow?
Yep, they may look dull, but they're uber dull. Silly cows.
On the e-text it says 112, and on the left one, the right one, it says Ich bin Kuh, which literally translates to I am cow. So yeah.
Hey, come on. We have a long way left to the top.
Is it safe up there?
I have no idea, but it is colder and more rockier, so maybe there are no humans. Well, now you can see everything.
Yeah, so here I have some Austria scenery, except the first photo I just showed you wasn't taken in Austria. I believe it was taken in Canada. Again, like I said in episode 1, I took, like, most of these background pictures were all taken by me, so I kind of know where they were taken. The first one was definitely not Austria. The others are probably Austria, or at least somewhere in the European Alps, so close enough.
You know what's fun? These mountains echo a lot. Why don't you try? You're a wolf. I'd love to hear your howl.
I don't howl very much.
Oh, well...
But I can scream, though.
Yeah, that is me doing the scream, and I used to scream a lot, so yeah, that is my scream, and I believe she also does this in, like, episode 3. The implication, by the way, isn't that she can't howl, she just doesn't howl because Daniel taught her not to, so that's why she doesn't really howl, and I just thought it was like a fun little detail to have her scream instead of howl, so yeah, that's why. So here we have the entrance of Soki, who would go on to play a big role in the series. Over here we have some other characters. I believe these 3, like the white wolf, the grey wolf dog, and the brown or the yellowish dog, they were all characters of friends or mutuals on DeviantArt back then. I actually know the person who has the grey wolf dog, Wolfie. She would also come back later in the series very briefly. And over here, the black and white cat is actually based on my real life cat, Jimmy, who sadly passed away in January of this year. But yeah, he is immortalized in the series, so he's very briefly, he's here. And of course, there's Silky, who, yeah, we'll see plenty of her later, since she's kind of like one of the main characters.
It's been such a long time, hasn't it?
What? Silky, no.
Well, Wolfie, here you go.
He still isn't back?
No, what if he's dead?
Come on, hearing you talk about him, he's a very experienced and strong wolf. He isn't dead.
Well, well, well. So, here we are again.
Again, the missing tooth, and yeah, you can see he has some scratches on him, on like his muzzle and his front leg. He would later get a few more scratches in this episode, and then if you look closely in episode 3 through 5 or 6, I believe, you can slowly see them heal, like they didn't insta-heal across a different scene. And I used to be really proud of myself for that, for like not having the scratches heal instantly, so I don't know, just lampshading that, I guess.
It's been 1 year now, Two Claws.
What do you want?
Words. I want you to tell me why you didn't come back from your job then.
I won't say a thing.
Oh, you will. Why did you leave us? Why didn't you answer my calls?
When she says, "Why didn't you answer my calls?" She isn't like me. She doesn't like me the phone call. She just, like, if you listen closely in episode 1, you could hear like a cougar growl. So that was her calling out to him. just to clear that up. He's shredding in this shot, which I also hate because wolves don't sweat. But yeah, whoops.
Why didn't you come back? You know how big that risk is, don't you? Whatever. You will speak.
And here we have, who I pointed out in episode 1, the waffle with the sunglasses. Yeah, he's just in some episodes. I don't know why.
That is what happens if you are disloyal. Now speak! Sparrow, lock him up!
The shot, I hate it because Sparrow used her, I believe Sparrow was a girl, used the claws to attack Daniel, which dogs, canines don't fight with their claws. Like, I could excuse her if she had like better claws, but she doesn't, so yeah, that's, I believe this is the only time it happens across both series, but I still really dislike that I did it in the first place.
Don't move.
Here we have Linnevola Guardian, and what basically, so I will briefly explain what they are because the series never does it. They're supposed to be like kind of like shadow, like not demons, but kind of like guardians of over someone. They live in someone's shadow and they can come out during intense negative emotions, and they aren't like a good thing because they also feed on the negative emotions, but they can also be used to their advantage. And this is Lynn's Dark Guardian, and they don't have official names, but during the production I would nickname Lynn's Guardian Blitz or Blitzel. And then Shiva's Guardian, who will appear later, was called Danny, just so I could tell them apart which was which. And you can tell them apart by the eyes. The eyes of this one aren't showing in this episode. But basically, Lynn's Dark Guardian has grey eyes, and Shiva's Dark Guardian has yellow eyes, so that's how they can be distinguished. And the reason they're just supposed to be like a rarity in this world, not like impossible, but they are just kind of like a rarity that sometimes occurs. And Lynn and Shiva are both Guardian carriers, so they have a Guardian in their shadow. So yeah, that's what they are, and I'm sorry the series never explains it because yeah, it's very bad. Sorry.
Is everything alright?
No, not really.
Okay, so as you can see in this shot, Blitz is returning to her shadow.
He'll be back soon, believe me. He's just late. Why are you so worried?
Over 1 year ago, my father went out hunting, and when I found him looking at his wounds, he was killed.
Wait, if your father is dead, how can one-eye...
Adopted father.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I didn't mean to upset you.
Doesn't matter, I just don't want to be an orphan again.
Why don't we search for him?
Are you sure?
Yeah, and I can tell you more about the mountain when we're on our way, yo.
Well, okay then.
I've spoken to Rose.
So yeah, there's also a small detail. Daniel has a little bit of cataract in his eye because he is the only character, at least one of the only characters, who doesn't have a pure black pupil. His is like more dark gray. That's because he has like early onset cataracts. So and by the epilogue, you will also see that his cataract is like pure white, so he is blind. But yeah, that's tiny detail in his eye. I'm not sure if anyone noticed, but yeah, that's why his pupil is gray instead of black.
She agreed, so we'll let Rufus come over. Already have some words for me, prisoner.
So the thing with Silky, when she has the red eyes, that's supposed to be when she's angry, kind of obvious. But yeah, that's why Sometimes she has red eyes. And Daniel also has this to an extent, but is glow more when they're red. Hasn't happened yet, but it happens a few times in the series, I believe.
Alright, and we do it this way. Still quiet, huh?
Another thing, Silky's hair is different in the scene. Normally it's brushed back, but right now it's messy. That's basically when she's off duty. She's currently off duty. She will wear her hair in the natural style, which is this messy kind of style. But when she's on duty, she will wear the blue shield over her chest, and she has her hair brushed back. That's more addressed in the short story, I believe. But yeah, that's why her hair is sometimes different. I believe it's also shown in episode 7 that she sometimes wears it differently.
Is it so hard? All I'm asking for you is to tell us why you didn't come back after your task, and we found you in a completely different forest.
I can rip all my legs off, swallow my intestines like it's spaghetti. I won't say a word.
Fine, but we aren't going to do that much to you. See, One Eye, you're one of our most, skillful assassins. We won't give that up after you tell us why you left us.
Yeah, she looks kind of awkward, but in case you couldn't tell, Silky is supposed to be a cougar, a mountain lion. But I was just really bad at drawing those. I wasn't good at felines at all. Like, Abby kind of looks like a cat, so she was pretty decent looking, but Silky, I was just really bad at drawing, like, medium-sized and big cats. Which is why Silky looks, in the very early episodes, she looks really awkward, and she doesn't really look like a mountain lion at all. Like, her muzzle is very canine, her nose is a little bit more feline, her ears are also just kind of weird. So yeah, that's why Silky looks a bit weird. But she is supposed to be a cougar, and the reason why she's golden instead of like the more like tan color that real cougars have is that I based her color off of like several fictional mountain lions I saw. Including the one from Cow of the Wild and a few others, which were happened to be yellow. I believe there was also one in Alcatraz who was also yellow. And I never looked before designing Silky. I never looked at like an actual photo of a mountain lion, so I didn't really know what they really looked like. So yeah, I just kind of gave her lion-like colors, which in hindsight I shouldn't have done, but well, she's just a little bit too golden for my taste. But that's why Silky is golden, and she doesn't have natural colors. Her mother, Arrow, in episode 3, she actually has more natural cougar-like colors. So I guess that's something.
You go straight back to your assassin jobs like nothing happened.
And what if I don't speak?
That isn't so hard. You know what the risk is of being disloyal to us, don't you?
That doesn't matter anymore.
Maybe. If you don't speak, we'll have to search for other wolves to work for us. Little wolves with families. Want to do that to them?
No.
So?
You've never told me that a wolf in the west side of the forest had a family. You know that I've never done such a thing. I don't kill lone ones having families.
Whatever. This still explains nothing. I don't want to waste my time. Have some more words for me. Otherwise I'll have to go.
He had a daughter. She had no mother. I couldn't leave her alone.
What? She could have been an excellent soldier. And you were weak and took her with you, didn't you? You didn't want her to feel alone. You were weak.
Weakness is not in my dictionary.
I thought that was such a clever exchange, like, weakness is not in my dictionary, and now Silky will be like, then you'll need to buy yourself a new one, old man. I thought that was the cleverest exchange in the world back when I wrote it. But right now it just doesn't make sense, because these are wild animals. Why do they know what a dictionary is? There's a few things like this in the series where you're just like, why were they saying that? It doesn't make sense. Yeah, that's all I want for you. You're welcome.
Then you need to buy yourself a new one, old man. Don't try to escape. Will be useless. Rue's already gone for Rufus. When he arrives, you'll decide what to do with you.
credits. Yay, credits. So yeah, this was episode 2, and I don't have much else to say about it. I do have to add that originally there was like the scene you will see in episode 3 when we get to it, with the cattle dogs and the sheep. That scene was originally at the very end of episode 2, but I then realized that it didn't make, timeline-wise, it just didn't make any sense for them to be included at the end of episode 2. It just messed up the whole timeline. So I later ended up adding it to episode 3 during the re-edit. So yeah, this was episode 2, and I hope you enjoyed my commentary, and yeah, see you all later. Bye!